After some technical issues, we have another episode of the Walk on Redshirts. We are back from the state of Kansas and Missouri. I guess technically that's where we flew in and out of. Unfortunate loss for the Kansas Jayhawks this past weekend, but we have another episode here for the Walk on Redshirts.
And they showed us a wonderful time, Jake. I mean, they rolled out the red carpet for the Walk on Redshirts. If anybody is a supporter of us, you are now ipso facto a supporter of the Kansas Jayhawks and Lance Leipold. So thank you, Coach, for everything you did for us. Thank you, Mammoth. Thank you, Andy Eiche. Thank you, everyone who played a role in just making this phenomenal weekend. Thank you, both Steves that we met, Steve the pilot and Steve the business card guy, Johnny's legend, Steve. Y'all took really good care of us.
I should have wore my Johnny's hat. I'll be honest. I should have worn my Johnny's hat.
You should have. My hat is upstairs. I should have worn it too, but I'm not going into that bedroom after what I did, after what I had to do to get down here. And that sounds terrible, but what I had to do was...
it sounded kind of dirty.
Yeah, get my kids to fall asleep. And my son, great. He's a beast. He was asleep in 5 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. I did have to change the color of his light, and I had to turn on his snow globe. He likes to hear his snow globe before he goes to sleep. And he asked for both of those things after I had left. Minor inconvenience. Nice. My daughter, she told me her brain was telling her that she is not sleepy yet and that she's not going to go to sleep. And then she's hungry, so she needs a full meal. I was like, you're not getting a full meal. What is that?
Come on, grilled cheese. Just throw a grilled cheese on real quick.
Yeah, easy. And then our daughter, our baby, she's a baby. It's to be expected. But we made it. Technical difficulties, children difficulties, no travel difficulties. How was your travel back, Jake?
Mine was easy. Flew through Houston for some reason. Don't know why. But went to Texas for the first time in my life, flying through Houston.
Did you beat them? Did you win?
Did I win?
Yeah. You mean you won last time you played Texas? I don't know.
I mean, 2 in a row. You know who didn't win was LSU over the weekend. And
well, I would argue they did. I would argue they did win.
There's a good point to make there that maybe they didn't win on the football field, but maybe the fan base won now that Brian Kelly is out at LSU.
Really? Was he really at a Mexican restaurant today, the day after getting canned?
You know, I saw that. I'm not positive. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, if that's an old image or what it might be, but I think it's funny to believe that that's where he was sitting, you know, just down in margaritas at 2:00 on a Monday or Tuesday.
You should. Let me tell you why this didn't work out. You can talk about X's and O's. You can talk about recruiting. You can talk about personality. You can talk about all these different things, Brian Kelly. Let me tell you why this didn't work out, Jake, and they should have known way back when. Did you watch the video of him leaving the facility after he got fired?
I did not. He
drives an Audi hatchback. You cannot coach football in the state of Louisiana driving a hatchback. I'm sorry. You need to be driving a pickup truck. You need to be driving something with some rust on it, something that squeaks when you open the door, something that wobbles a little bit when you get in. If you're not grunting getting into your car because you have to step up a little bit and you got to pull your little Dunlap over just to get into your car, you're not coaching in the freaking SEC. A hatchback? Give me a freaking break. An Audi hatchback? You should be driving a Dodge Ram, a Ford F-150, maybe put a dually on there. Act like you have some horses. I drive the F-350. I don't care. You cannot drive an Audi hatchback and be a coach for the Louisiana State University Bayou Bengals.
What do we think about Chevy Colorados? You know, I'm just asking for a friend.
That's completely fine. It's a truck. It's a lot more badass than a damn Audi hatchback.
Just asking. No reason whatsoever. Just got to ask a specific question.
Jake, I bet he has the plaid seats that you can get with a hatchback. I bet he's got like the custom plaid seats.
I mean, it's still probably worse than any of his players drive, if we're being honest.
Oh, but you can drive that as a player. That's cool as a player. When you're a coach,
I don't know. An Audi hatchback probably still isn't that cool as a player. An Audi, right. Yes. Yeah. Certain Audi, but Audi hatchback, I don't know about that. This is a very intriguing opening. I think this immediately goes to the top of the list. I mean, when you talk about, Lane Kiffin being interested in Florida, Lane Kiffin is going to be more interested in LSU, in my opinion, than he was in Florida.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
LSU is the premier job that's open right now because, I mean, you think about it. Other than Brian Kelly, the previous 3 coaches all won a national championship. And Saban, Les Miles, and Coach O. Now, grant 2 of the 3 of them were fired, and the last 3 coaches have all been fired, and 2 of them won national championships. But the recruiting base, I mean, LSU had a kid commit to them on Monday after Brian Kelly was fired because there are kids in the state of Louisiana that are going to go to LSU no matter what. Like recruiting the state of Louisiana is going to be easier. And then you also have the South and you also have, the eastern part of Texas, that Houston area. They can get a lot of kids from Houston. LSU has done well in the Houston areas historically. And I think a good recruiter, I mean, you don't even be good. You just need to be above average to compete yearly with these kids, to get these kids for LSU. I think LSU is the premier job. And you take away the Nick Saban, the Dan Lanning, and the, Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day, like you get rid of the top 5 or 6 coaches in where they're at top programs, basically the blue bloods. Everybody else is basically on the table at this point.
Yeah, no. How would you rank the current jobs opening? We have LSU, Florida, Penn State, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, UCLA. I think I know how I'd rank them.
Well, Stanford's technically open too, if you want to count that, but that's at the bottom, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
to me, it goes LSU, and then Florida and Penn State are 1A or 2A, 2B to me. And I think you can justify either one being 2, in my opinion. It really depends on the fit for the coach. I think those are much more fit oriented rather than, now granted LSU is as well. You need the right guy. Brian Kelly was not the right guy. He was not a good fit.
He wasn't family.
Yeah. But I think Florida and Penn State both have their perks. They also both have downsides to them. I think I could be swayed either way. They're number 2. To me, number 3 is Virginia Tech, then Arkansas, then UCLA. I think UCLA is the worst of all those jobs. Oklahoma State, I think, is actually even below UCLA then.
Oh, I forgot about Oklahoma State. Sorry. You think Oklahoma State's below UCLA?
They might be above UCLA. I would probably, if we're going to add Oklahoma State, I'd probably go LSU, Penn State, Florida, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, UCLA. I think Virginia Tech is a better job than Arkansas because you are getting influx of money, and Arkansas is a bottom half of the SEC, and it is very hard to recruit there. And it's hard to make a jump up in the SEC. Vanderbilt did it, but how long is it going to last? And is Clark Lee going to leave?
Yeah. And my argument for Oklahoma State is they're only 2 years removed from being relevant. UCLA, it's been a minute.
Oklahoma State's last 2 coaches are Mike Gundy and Les Miles. So they've done very well with the coaches. And I just have a hard time thinking that Oklahoma State is going to be able to make that jump up again. I don't know who Oklahoma State's going to get. Because
there's a former player, there's a quarterback that used to play there who's on the open market right now.
Zach Robinson, did he just get fired?
No, Mike Gundy.
Oh, yeah. Former quarterback, I hear. Former quarterback there.
Yeah.
I just don't know who Oklahoma State's going to go get. And I just don't think Oklahoma State's a very good job right now.
No, it's not. I think the stink of how the Mike Gundy firing went, and the fact that it probably took a couple of years too long, or a year too long, gave it some bad publicity.
You just said 2 years ago they were a contender, and then last year.
I guess the way I'm putting that is they've essentially been firing him since last year. Mm-hmm. Like they tried to fire him last year, and they decided not to. Then they went through the whole rigmarole this year, and then they lasted how many games? 3 games, and then they finally canned him. And I think because of how long this whole bad relationship, because the bad relationship started after like game 2 or 3 last year, and it got game 4 when it started to get really bad. Because I think they won 3 in a row, and then they
started out 3-0, and then they lost every other game.
And essentially from game 4 on, the relationship started to sour, and everything coming out of Stillwater was just negative, and that negativity is built. And then you finally get to this year. And it built. And now it looks like Oklahoma State's bad. Oklahoma State's got some history. It's in a hotbed of recruiting. Texas is right there. You're in Oklahoma. I mean, you're not far removed from a talent pool. I don't know what the donors would look like, but there can't be that bad. I mean, you've got Barry Sanders who's been there before. You can use him for any recruiting pitch you want. So
I don't know how much Barry Sanders comes around though. That's probably one of your problems.
Well, get him in there. I mean that can be part of it. I mean, all these jobs have the opportunity to be bigger. If Arkansas can somehow get Jerry Jones more involved, Jimmy Johnson more involved, Tyson Chicken more involved, Walmart more involved, they're not that far away from being able to pay a guy to convince them. You could convince me to come play in Fayetteville for $500,000, $1 million, right? Rather than go to play at a LSU for significantly less. That's not what would happen, but just
I don't think LSU is going to pay significantly less.
No,
LSU might go into a bidding war too.
If I'm a recruit and I could be a backup and get paid $100,000 go to LSU, or I can be a starter and get paid 5x to go play at Arkansas, that could happen. And Penn State has that opportunity because they have tradition. Florida has that opportunity because of where they are and who's come through that program. I mean, it's a really good academic school as well. Virginia Tech has a lot of history. A lot of people are really passionate about that school. UCLA is probably the only one where I'm like, who wants to – you're competing with USC, and who's come out of UCLA who's going to really want to go back and dive into that football program? I mean, Deshaun Foster didn't even know where UCLA was, and he played there. So I think I agree with you that UCLA is the worst, and I think it's worse than Oklahoma State. So I would disagree with you there.
I think UCLA should just hire the interim staff, honestly.
Absolutely. They've done phenomenally. I mean, yes, they lost last week, but
they played Indiana.
What, 3 in a row?
Yeah, and you played Indiana and you ran into a buzzsaw.
That's a buzzsaw. Fun fact about Indiana. There's only been 2 teams in college football history that have beaten 2 of their conference opponents by 50-plus in the same year. You know who they are?
No.
2018 Clemson and 2025 Indiana.
You always got to find a Clemson stat somewhere.
Listen, we're down bad right now. We've lost like 94 recruits in the last couple of days. I'm a depressed football fan right now. Even Coach Leipold threw a little shot at me while we were there.
That was hilarious. Him asking you what's wrong with Clemson. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. I thought everything was gonna be cordial. I thought we were cool. I guess that was him getting me back for asking, or for me telling him I tried to get naked and get in their spa.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a little weird.
Sometimes you got to get there.
Okay, let's talk about this past weekend's games.
Let's do it.
So, if you didn't, we're not going to talk about Kansas State. We have a full recap episode. Go listen to all that. We talked about our trip and everything. So, go listen to all that. We did get a chance to go to Johnny's and watch some games. Then we go back to our Airbnb and watch more games. Texas A&M, they are legit.
Yeah. Jake, Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M are the only 3 teams that have proven to me that they belong in the national championship conversation. That's 3 teams.
Tier 1. Those 3 teams are tier 1. And yeah. I can see how anybody could rank any one of them number 1. And I'm not going to sit here and disagree and say, if you have Texas A&M number 1, well, why don't you have Indiana or Ohio State? If you have Ohio State number 1, why isn't it Indiana? Like, you can easily make cases that, okay, Ohio State, maybe their schedule isn't as good, but that defense doesn't allow anyone to score. You cannot move the ball. Even the mediocre teams aren't even moving the ball. Like Illinois, it took forever for them. They had to run a fullback option to the wide receiver to score a touchdown. Like, you have to go so deep in your bag to score. Indiana is just running over everybody in their competition. They're scoring like 50 points every single week. And Texas A&M just continues to do it against other SEC teams. They're down at halftime, and you know what they do in the second half? They come out and score 21 straight points in the third quarter to put the game away.
Didn't look back. And yeah, you could, as long as those 3 teams are in your top 3, you've got a legitimate AP. You got a legitimate poll. Anybody outside of those 3 teams, you can argue Alabama, but they have lots of flaws. You can argue Georgia, but they've got flaws. You could argue Oregon, but
you can't argue.
They've got lots of flaws.
They've lost to Indiana. They lost to Indiana.
So, the 3 best teams are those 3 teams, and then it's everybody else. I don't think based off of what I've seen so far, I really don't think that anybody can beat those three teams, except for those three teams. Notre Dame, I mean, took Texas A&M to the wire. You can tell how good Notre Dame is, but when it got to nut cutting time in two different games, Notre Dame blew it. You know who has not done that? Texas A&M, Ohio State, or Indiana. And all those teams have been in a game in which you had to drop your nuts and win it. Ohio State was the very first game of the year against a bad Texas team, but a very, 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 very good Texas defense. And their quarterback starting for the first time. And you know who showed up for that Ohio State-Texas game? Ohio State's defense. And they gave Julian Sand the opportunity to grow and grow and grow, and now he's phenomenal.
Crap. There's a little bit of me that's concerned about the Texas A&M defense overall. I mean, they've allowed 40 points already twice this season. So, obviously, you find a way to win. Marcel Reed.
Who's the other game besides Notre Dame?
Arkansas scored 42.
Oh, that doesn't count. Arkansas does that to everybody now except for Notre Dame.
Arkansas just still loses the game. Arkansas dropped 40 and still lose.
But you know what Texas A&M did do? Held LSU to 60 yards rushing. I mean, they just
everybody's held LSU to 60 yards rushing except Clemson.
Why do you have to go there, man? I'm down. I'm down hard right now. We're about to get beat by freaking Duke. We're about to go 0-2 in our last two games to Duke, and you're going to throw that. You're going to do that to me. That's all right. I deserve it. Let's move. I've given you lots of jabs.
Marcel Reed is an incredible athlete. I am concerned that eventually there's going to be a game where he makes one too many mistakes, and it costs them the game.
Well, my issue is too. It's you talk about the other two teams. All right, if you want to get nitpicky, out of our top three, those three teams have flaws too. Texas A&M,
they all do.
Marcel Reed, and Marcel Reed's going to.
But Marcel Reed is also one of the reasons they're so good.
Right. So like his dynamic ability to do what he does running the football makes the offense one of the most dynamic offenses in the country. On the flip side, his ability to pass the ball or inability to pass the ball makes them one of the most clunky offenses in college football when he's passing the ball. But the thing that they did really well to surround Marcel Reed, they know. I think Mike Elko and company knew this about him. Hey, he's a struggling passer. He's inconsistent. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to put Casey Concepcion around him. We're going to put Mario Craver around him. Two playmakers at wide receiver. So, hey, he might only complete 50% of his passes, but if you get the ball in those guys' hands 50% of the time, something big can and will happen. You go back to the freaking Notre Dame game, he had 300 yards passing on 13 completions. It was unbelievable. And the thing is, he's got playmakers everywhere in that receiving core. So you want to be a struggling passer, have a guy when they get the ball in their hand can take it to the distance every single time.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head with that Marcel Reed, he might only complete 50% of his passes some games, maybe 60%. But when you have enough talent around there, it's going to make up for it. And if you're willing to take those shots, you also understand that you're willing to accept an interception every so often too.
Jake, you want to guess what was the least amount of yards per reception in Texas A&M's receiving core? The least amount of yards per reception.
I'll say 13.
It was 12. You were almost spot on. That guy was 1 for 12. So they had a guy that averaged 47 yards a catch, 15 yards a catch. Here's an 11. Excuse me, right below 11. 10 and a half. 10 and a half with Mario Craver, which you can live with that. But 10 and a half, 16, 24, and 12.
Every time you complete a pass, it's
a first down. Every time. So,
yards per attempt, yards per completion. Like when your yards per completion is sitting there at 15 yards per completion. I mean, the game against Notre Dame is absurd. He had 17 completions for 360 yards. Like an absurd average yards per catch.
17 yards per completion in this game. 17.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. I'm in on Texas A&M. The remaining schedule is honestly not that bad. You get Mizzou this weekend, who or it's Mizzou next weekend, my bad. Mizzou next weekend, you get a bye this weekend, who is not going to have Bo Prabula because Bo Prabula is injured. And now there's a rumor that he may be back before the end of the year. But the problem is he ain't going to be back next weekend with him being off in an air cast like that.
No. Apparently it was a really bad sprain.
Yeah. You're going to get a true freshman quarterback at Mizzou. I mean, you're playing at Mizzou. You're going to get South Carolina at home. You're going to beat that one. You're going to get Samford at home. You're going to win that one. And then it takes you the last game of the year where you go to Austin in the rivalry game. Now, granted, you got to know that something's going to be up for that game. But on paper, A&M is significantly better than Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by a pretty large margin, I would take A&M, and I think I would take A&M right now by 3 scores against Texas, even on the road.
I think Texas and LSU are very similar. They've got really good defenses, and the offenses are clunky. The difference between Texas and LSU is that I think Texas is a little bit better at running the football, and I think Texas's defense is better. But
and LSU is better at throwing the ball. I cannot justify Texas being a passing team right now.
Right,
Arch Manning's out. They scored their game-winning touchdown with Arch Manning, being in concussion protocol. Arch Manning can throw a deep ball, but even if he's back, I don't think he can do enough against A&M. A&M, if they beat Missouri next weekend, like they're locked in for the playoff. Like they have a playoff spot.
If they lose to South Carolina, that could be bad.
They're not going to lose.
Yeah,
you're
probably right.
It's in College Station. If that was in South Carolina, in Columbia, I'd feel different. But it being in College Station, they ain't going to lose.
It's also not in Cocktober. You don't have a Cockvember.
No, we don't have Cockvember. It's Aggies. If they beat Mizzou next weekend, I think they can punch their ticket to the playoff.
Yep, we get to see the Rebel, the what do they call it? The Midnight Yell, the Rebel Yell.
Yeah, Midnight, the Rebel Yell, whatever it is.
We get to see that.
Speaking of Cocktober, South Carolina should have pulled off an upset against Alabama, but they fell short. And I looked at you when we were at Johnny's, and when they scored, to go up where they could have either gone up, 8 with an extra point or 9 with a 2-point conversion, had they converted it, I told you they should go for 2 to make it a 2-score game with the amount of time that was left in the game.
You did. I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference looking at it now, but
no, I think you play the game a little bit different though. I think how the game, how the gamesmanship of it, I think changes a little bit because, they score with 10 minutes left in the game. Alabama, for instance, takes 14 plays, 79 yards, and takes 7 minutes and 44 seconds to go. I think Alabama then plays with a little bit more hustle in that. I don't know if that changes the outcome of the game, but I think if they score the way it is, I think they either have more time on the clock. I don't necessarily guarantee South Carolina wins, but I think they still made the wrong move going for kicking the extra point instead of going for 2.
Yeah.
Also, I have no idea how you don't. The 2 minutes left of the game, and they are running the ball twice instead of trying to go kick a field goal and win the game.
Yeah.
You fumble it inside your own 35-yard line, and at that point, it was incredibly clear this game was over because Alabama was not going to give anything up, and with 34 seconds left, everybody and their brother knew that South Carolina was not going to go down and score a touchdown in 30 seconds.
Let me speak on that too. There's people out there saying that Lenora Sellers shouldn't be getting paid as much as he is to fumble the football against Alabama. Buddy, you're not in that game if Lenora Sellers isn't your quarterback. I mean, how often was someone in crimson and white in your backfield trying to tear his behind down, and because he's massive, he shirks him off and makes a play? He was running for his life in the first half. Running for his life. So, of course, it sucks that he fumbled, and the quote after the game made it even worse, where he's like, I thought I was down, so I went ahead and just dropped the ball, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, buddy, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that. But, with all that being said, you can't sit there and blame Lenora Sellers for losing that game because you're not in that game without Lenora Sellers. And honestly, South Carolina's defense played fairly well. I mean, they held Alabama to 72 yards rushing. So if there was a game for Alabama to get right in running the football, it should have been this game. And they couldn't run the ball in this game. I mean, Jam Miller averaged 2.5 yards a carry. 2.5 yards a carry. There was one of their receivers had a 25-yard rush. He was 3 for 23. So he ran 2 other times for -2 yards. I mean, this is just a terrible, terrible rushing attack in Tuscaloosa. They did run the ball with Caden Proctor, and he got no yards. So they tried again with that. We thought he was going to throw the football this time. He didn't. But Jake, do you think Alabama can get this running game on track? Because I truly don't.
I think I'm out on the Alabama rushing attack. I'm out on the Alabama rushing attack because you have the talent. I thought before the season you had Richard Young, you had Jam Miller was injured, but I thought that the offensive line was still strong enough. You had Caden Proctor, arguably one of the best left tackles in the game, where they used him as a running back at times. And I thought that they would have a strong enough offensive line to be able to do this. And it just isn't working. It's just not working. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's the running backs not seeing the holes. Like, I don't know if it's enough push from the offensive line. Like, I'm not an analytical guy that's going to sit here and break down, the film. That's not who I am. That's just not what my strategy is, where I'm best at. But the running game is done. You got to still try because you can't just go out there and old school Texas Tech it with Cliff Kingsbury and throw it 65 times a game. But you just have to know that you're going to be in second and third long because you can't run the ball.
Well, there's only one game left that they have a chance to run over 100 yards, and that's the Eastern Illinois Panthers. They've got LSU. They ain't running 100 yards against LSU. They got Oklahoma. You ain't running 100 yards against Oklahoma. You got Eastern Illinois, and then you got Auburn. And I don't see the running game getting better against those defenses. So I think that's what's going to cause that's going to be their Achilles heel, and that's why I don't see them winning a national championship this year. You've got to have a running game.
I was going to say the same exact thing. If they can't run the ball, there's no chance they can run through a playoff where they have 3 or 4 teams. I don't know if they can win an SEC championship if they can't run the ball.
Now, Jake, I will argue with myself. William, you need to have a running game to win the national championship. Well, William, who won the national championship last year? What was their biggest issue coming into the playoffs? Oh, it was the running game, and they figured it out in the playoffs. But I wouldn't bet on that, Williams.
I will say there's a very difference between whatever the running game is with Jam Miller and Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are way better running backs than Jam Miller.
Right, but the offensive line situation was much worse at Ohio State. I mean, you had how many injuries on the starting front? And
I will say the left tackle and the 2 best ones on the offensive line went down. I would say there was at least signs of a running game throughout the year. It wasn't like it was MIA all season. True. Like they struggled against Michigan because they tried to run into Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, but this we're seeing every single week. At least last year, Ohio State, there was signs of a running game at times. I don't even know if we have signs of a running game throughout the season.
Yeah.
We didn't put this one on our notes, but we have to talk about South Florida and Memphis here real quick because South Florida was up 31-17 entering the fourth quarter, where I didn't even pay attention to this game in the fourth quarter. And then I got a text that Memphis won, and Memphis scored a touchdown with a minute left in this game.
You got a text that said Memphis didn't cover, I thought, right?
Or I sent a text that Memphis didn't cover, and I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. And then I got another text of they didn't even win. I was like, how? How did USF not win this football game? USF scores a touchdown as time basically expires in the third quarter. You think this game is over. And here is what USF proceeded to do in the fourth quarter. 6 plays, 26 yards and a punt. 7 plays, 22 yards and a punt. 8 plays, 51 yards and a missed field goal from 52 yards to tie the game to send it to overtime. Memphis, meanwhile, went 8 plays, 75 yards in a minute and 49.
How do you go 8 plays in 2 minutes?
I don't know. 9 plays, 81 yards in 4 minutes. and then 11 plays 70 yards in 4 minutes. Like, Memphis somehow just flipped a switch. Now, granted, Memphis moved the ball actually very well in the second half. 10 plays, 39 yards and a field goal, 10 plays, 65 yards and a missed field goal. So they did not punt in the second half. USF could not stop them in the second half. And for a team that we all thought was, if they won this game, they were going to the playoff. I mean, USF, it's hard to imagine them making the playoffs now with 2 losses.
Yeah, that's gone. See ya. And what's crazy, Jake, is USF almost had 600 yards of total offense, 269 yards passing, almost 300 yards rushing, and you lose this game. It's unbelievable.
I don't want to say USF is gone, because if USF finds a way to win the American, that means, like, what are you going to do? Go look out west that you can't.
You're right. I mean, it is a great landscape for you to lose as a G5 team, right? I mean, because if you look at all the other G5 teams, who would you put there? I mean, I think the G5 representative has to come from the American. Maybe James Madison. They're Conference USA, I believe, right?
They're Sunbelt.
Sunbelt, yeah. So Sunbelt maybe with the James Madison. And James Madison's
San Diego State is 6-1. I'm just looking at 1-loss teams. UNLV, San Diego State, like, it is thin this year at the Group of 5 level. Very, very thin. I mean, at least in the American, you still have North Texas at 7-1, USF at 6-2, Memphis at 7-1, Tulane at 6-1, and Navy at 7-0. And don't forget Temple. They only have 1 loss, and they should have 0 losses in the American because they blew it to Navy. But 5-3 Temple. We're going to win this weekend and go to a bowl game. Shout out Temple. We may or may not be picking this game later.
You know what's crazy, Jake? Temple could be bowl eligible this week, and Clemson may not even make a bowl game.
People are asking, is Temple a better program than Clemson?
This year, maybe. No more slander. No more slander. Let's move on.
BYU comes back against Iowa State. We were kind of paying attention to this game. We actually, at one point, were trying to get the waitress to turn this game off because we thought Iowa State might just blow out.
Not even that. BYU. They had it on 45 TVs.
They also did have it on every TV because I'm guessing Kansas State was on Fox. But also, there was a point where it felt like that Iowa State
Kansas State was on TNT. I just thought about that. It was on TNT.
Oh, no idea what was on Fox then. You're right. It was on TNT or HBO. Anyways, Iowa State was up 17-7 at one point, and then they were up 24-10. And it felt like in the first half, like Iowa State might run away with this game.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, BYU came storming back. Bear Bachmeier is an absolute beast. Throws for 307 yards and has his best passing day of the year, honestly.
That's the craziest part to me.
Against Iowa State, he just lit up. Now, Iowa State's pass defense has been iffy at times this year.
But Bear Bachmeier hasn't thrown on anybody. And then
he hasn't been able to throw. BYU was not able to run the ball, which had been their bread and butter all season long. I mean, they only averaged 3.7 yards a carry. And when Bear Bachmeier is your leading rush, not that he's bad, but Bear Bachmeier has 12 carries, 49 yards.
Yeah.
The next leading rusher was Preston Rex with 6 carries for 17 yards. They could not run the ball, but they could pass the ball. They were able to pass the ball. BYU, legit, not legit?
BYU is legit. They're legit. I mean, I tried to hide from them, but they're really freaking good. And the reason they're freaking good is their defense. Their defense finds a freaking way every single game. And then Bear Bachmeier is one of the toughest people in the BYU and Georgia Tech.
What's your pet peeve about quarterbacks? Go ahead. You told me that this weekend.
I can't stand quarterbacks that don't wear like traditional numbers. 47. Like I didn't like it when Denard Robinson wore 99 or whoever it was. Devin Gardner.
Yeah, Devin Gardner.
I didn't like him wearing 99. I didn't like the old boy wearing 20. Shea Patterson wearing 21. I don't like Bear Bachmeier wearing 47. I don't think it's cool. Your name's Bear Bachmeier. You don't need to wear 47. Wear 17. You have a cool name.
I would love if Bear Bachmeier wore 0.
That'd be fine. I'm okay with that. But like anything above 19, what are we doing? I don't even like watching my quarterbacks wear 19. Who wears 19? Can you name one quarterback that's ever wore the number 19 that's been any good?
I think 19 might be the worst number, honestly. between
Out
0
of
and
all
100.
numbers?
Between 0 and 100, I think 19 is like the worst number, because that means you're getting like the early, the teens numbers, but you're getting whatever's left, because nobody actually wants 19.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I like thinking about the number 19. I can't think of a number 19 that's any good.
Because there isn't.
Not even a quarterback, just in general.
BYU, though, is interesting because their next 4 games are Texas Tech, TCU, Cincinnati, UCF. At Texas Tech, Baron Morton is back, but it'll probably be a game time decision for the BYU game next weekend. Full disclosure. Will Hammond is out for the year for Texas Tech. That's going to be an intriguing thing because they have to go to their third string quarterback. He's not good. Basically that. That's just where we'll leave it. Cincinnati on the road as well. That's a very intriguing game. Cincinnati suddenly looks like they could be a college football playoff team after they beat Baylor 41-20. And my hot take is that Brendan Sorsby should be getting some Heisman love at this point.
Jake, there's one player you should have named for number 19.
Oh.
Ted Ginn Jr.
He did not wear 19. He wore 7.
I'm thinking the NFL. NFL, he wore 19. You're right. Okay, moving on.
I was like, I have a Ted Ginn Jr. jersey from when I was like 12. It's signed by him. Fun fact, Ted Ginn Jr. signed the jersey on my chest when I was like 10 years old, and now Ted Ginn Jr. is like a top 3 favorite player of mine of all time.
Because he's on your chest?
Well, he's on the jersey that does not fit me anymore because I was 12. But my wife framed it, and it's in our basement. Brendan Sorsby should be getting more love for the Heisman, though. And, I mean, look what he's doing. Cincinnati would not be in the position they are without having Brendan Sorsby as their quarterback. The guy's thrown for almost 2,000 yards this year, 20 touchdowns, only 1 interception, has also run for over 400 yards, and has rushed for another 7 touchdowns. The guy is going to be a 3,000-yard passer, going to have 30 passing touchdowns, and rush for 12, 13 touchdowns this year. So he's going to have Jake, like 43 touchdowns by the end of the regular season, and he needs to get more love as a Heisman contender.
Who do you trust the most between BYU, Cincinnati, and Iowa?
I don't trust Iowa.
You don't trust Iowa?
No, Iowa. I do not trust Iowa. Mark Gronowski still can't throw a pass. I still don't understand how he can't throw a pass. Mark Gronowski's terrible at throwing the ball.
Yeah, he really is. Dude, this is a
people are going to get on me and say, well, Brendan Sorsby only threw for 111. Yeah, but he's thrown for 300 yards multiple times this year. Mark Gronowski has not.
Yes, he has. Oh, multiple. Okay, you got me there. This is an insane stat. Minnesota had 109 yards passing. Iowa had 141 yards passing.
Yeah, and absolutely blew out Minnesota.
That game
was not even close. Was not even close. Any other games that you want to talk about before we move into this upcoming week?
Clemson did not lose this weekend.
No, I sent you a graphic. The bye week 1.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you know what? And remember, I just said that I thought Gronowski threw for 300 yards at least once this year. I lied to your face. No, you want to hear this stat line?
His high is probably like 189.
How many times do you think he threw over 200 yards?
I'm going to give you 1.
0. How many times do you think he threw over 190 yards?
0.
0. How about 180?
I'll give you 1 there.
1. 186 yards. He's thrown for over 150 yards twice.
That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible.
And look at these.
They went to go get a quarterback, and he is not good. I don't know if it's the offense at this point, but he cannot, they can't stretch the field in the passing game. They had 270 yards and one's 41-6 or whatever the score was.
He threw for 68 yards against Penn State, and they won.
That's disgusting.
68 yards.
He threw for Jim Knowles should be ashamed of himself. He lost to a quarterback. Well, that's not the first time he's lost to a team that has only thrown for 60-some yards.
Yeah, that's rough. Why are you punishing yourself?
Jim Knowles, 2 times in the last year that he has lost to a team that has thrown for less than 100 yards.
That's a fun. Do you mind if I take that stat and tweet it? That's a really good stat.
Yes, please. Especially the week where Ohio State plays Penn State. I would love to throw that in their face. All right, let's start talking about this upcoming weekend. Not the best slate of games. It was supposed to be a great slate, but then a lot of teams failed to meet expectations. Like before the season, we would have thought that we'd be spending 10 minutes talking about Ohio State and Penn State. It didn't even make our list of games to talk about the spreads because it's a 20.5-point spread. Miami
it opened at. It opened at what did it open at? Like 4.5.
It was like the pre-spread that you could have bet on. Everybody should have jumped on it at 4.5. If you didn't jump on it at 4.5, there's no reason to jump on it now. I mean, Miami and SMU, first game we're going to talk about. A game that might have been a top 25 matchup, but now SMU has fallen off the face of the earth a little bit here. And I still think SMU has a chance here. And partially is because I think Carson Beck is going to roll over from his Louisville game. He gets 2 weeks to prepare, but the game being in SMU is interesting to me. Miami fans, I mean, they already don't show up to their own stadium, so why should I expect them to all of a sudden go to Dallas to follow their team? I just don't know what to make of SMU. I mean, they lost to Wake Forest last week. They beat Clemson 2 weeks ago. Kevin Jennings is not having a great year. I mean, he's thrown for over 2,000 yards, but he's got 8 interceptions already this season. His completion percentage has been really wonky, where there's games where he's thrown for less than 60% completion, but he's also got multiple games, 70s and 80s. I mean, what do you make of this game?
Oh, I can tell you what I make of this game. I think Miami's about to go there and absolutely drum them. Excuse me, it's in Miami, like you just said. No, it's in Dallas. I'm in a pretzel. Get me out of this pretzel, Jake. Where are we going? Is this in Dallas or is this Miami?
It's in Dallas. I was
Okay.
just saying, it's in Dallas.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. SMU has the second worst pass defense in the country at 134th. Miami has the 38th best passing offense in the country. Now, SMU does have a top 20 rushing defense, and it's a formidable defense. They do a good job. And I would say, well, why are they 20th? Is it 20th because everyone's passing on them? No, they actually do make you one-dimensional. But when they do make you one-dimensional, you just dice them up. So I really think Miami's about to go there. I think Miami might beat them by 3 or 4 scores. I think it's going to be a drumming. And I don't know, is Kevin Jennings healthy? I mean, the SMU has been held to less than 30 yards twice this year. Or excuse me, 30 points twice this year. 12 points against Wake Forest was one of them.
Yeah, that was ugly.
12 points against Wake Forest. The other one, I believe, was Missouri State, where they scored 28.
Yeah, it's definitely been an ugly year for SMU. The last time we saw Carson Beck, he threw 4 interceptions, and they were ugly. There were a couple that were really, really ugly. And the one thing I have to remind myself is that Malachi Toney plays for Miami, and Malachi Toney is arguably the best freshman receiver in college football right now.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He is a playmaker. I mean, and he makes plays in special teams. He makes plays on offense. He makes plays in the running game. He is a playmaker through and through.
And I think, to me, that is possibly one of the biggest decisive is, can Carson Beck actually get the ball to his receivers, or is he going to struggle again? Like, can SMU find a way to be dynamic and get Carson Beck off of his, out of his comfort zone? I'm just not sure. I am not leaning in on the SMU. I am more leaning in on my lack of faith on Carson Beck.
This is a game where Carson Beck gets right. This is a game where he gets right. I trust him in this game.
You really trust him, though?
I do. I truly do. I don't trust him overall. In this game, I trust him. Jake, we had a backup quarterback who couldn't complete a pass against Boston College going against SMU and throw for 300 plus.
Yeah, but Wake Forest only scored 13 points on them. Wake Forest has 5 wins this year. Just saying, Wake Forest is going to go to a bowl game.
And Clemson won't.
That is actually kind of funny. They did force 2 interceptions against Wake Forest. Just saying. But
don't trust it. I trust Carson Beck more than I trust SMU's defense.
That's
where I'm at.
That's fair. Second game here is the late game, 10:15. Cincinnati will play Utah. Will people finally start taking Cincinnati seriously?
They should. They better. The Nebraska loss looks bad, and it stinks because everyone was watching it. But and not a lot of people are watching them now. But man, they're silently building some momentum. You're going to have to pay attention when you get to the Big 12 championship and they're playing.
I think there's a misconception out there that Brendan Sorsby is only like a running quarterback because that's all we saw him do against Nebraska. You talked about that where everybody watched the Nebraska game. Nobody has watched a Cincinnati game since. And their last, handful of games, 41-20 over Baylor, 49-17 over Oklahoma State, 20-11 over UCF, 38-30 over Iowa State, 37-34 over Kansas. I mean, they're not winning by super large margins other than the last 2 games. But, I mean, they're just handling business. And the defense is keeping them in games. The defense the last handful of games has only allowed, 50 points over the last 3 games.
Well, my favorite part of the defense is they struggle in the first half. They look great in the second half. The rush defense is okay. They're at 65th in the country. But people don't score on Cincinnati when they get in the red zone. Cincinnati has the 22nd ranked red zone defense in the country. They put the clamps on you once you get in.
Sawyer Robertson has thrown for over 300 yards in all but 3 games this year. He threw for only 137 against Cincinnati.
Yeah, they're
137 yards. Against TCU is 318, Kansas State 345, Oklahoma State 393, SMU 440, Auburn 419, Arizona State 250. And then a 137 against Cincinnati. Like, they held him in check. And for a guy that had been really good throwing the ball, I mean, they did well against the rush. Only 129 yards on 32 carries, 4 yards a carry there. Michael Turner had a pretty strong day. He had a 40 in there, so that's something that I'll be interested in. But Cincinnati Brendan Sorsby can run the ball, but he can sling it too. But they also have a really strong running game between Tyree Walker and Ever Pryor.
I just can't believe in a weekend in which Ohio State plays Penn State and LSU plays Alabama, we're talking about Cincinnati versus Utah. It's insane.
Is the Alabama game this weekend?
I believe it is. Maybe it's next weekend. Maybe they have a bye week.
I think it's next weekend.
Okay, it's next weekend. Still,
yes.
Georgia, Florida's this weekend. South Carolina, Oklahoma. We should have had some premier.
Vandy, Texas football. Is one of the other best games this weekend too.
Yeah, and this is I mean no disrespect to Cincinnati nor Utah nor my Utes, but this is just a very wacky season that we're in this year, Jake.
Yes, absolutely is a wacky season. I mean, you go through and look through some of the games that we thought might be big this weekend. I mean, South Carolina, Ole Miss. I don't think people had South Carolina as only a 3-win team right now. USC Nebraska is actually a pretty solid game this weekend, which we actually don't have on our picks. We probably should have had them on our picks, but you know what? Here we are. This weekend was hyped up as being one of the best weekends in college football, but some teams failed expectations and just didn't hit there. When it comes to Utah, though, what is your concern for the Utes this weekend against Cincinnati?
They can't turn into a one-dimensional team, specifically in the red zone. We talk about how good Cincinnati is in the red zone. You can't come into the game and move the ball down the field one way and then keep relying on that. I mean, you have to be multidimensional to beat this Cincinnati team. You can't just be a passing team. You can't just be a running team. And Utah is an underrated passing team. I think they're in the top 50 or 60 in terms of passing offense, but it's only 202 yards per game. So it's not like they're doing that much in the passing game. They're dominant runners and they play good defense. In the games in which they lose, they can't move the football offensively, and they can't score touchdowns. So if you're going to beat Cincinnati, you can't just go in there and kick field goals all day. They've proven that their offense has turned into one of the best offenses in the country. So you're going to have to go. I mean, the game's in Utah.
Game is in Utah. It's a 10:15. It's an after dark game.
That's dangerous for Cincinnati. So my second key to the game for Utah would be it's at night. You don't play in Provo at night or Salt Lake City at night. Excuse me.
I think when I look at Cincinnati, I look at how Utah lost their two games. Devin Dampier had a couple turnovers against Texas Tech. That game was close, and then it got out of hand, in the second half. BYU, kind of a weird game, but Cincinnati's got to find a way to force some turnovers here. Get Devin Dampier uncomfortable. He's not going to beat you with his arm. He's not going to be a 300 or 400 yard passer. Utah's going to try to run the ball, and if you can slow down that run, I think Cincinnati's got a real good shot here. Problem is, it's not the easiest thing to slow down that Utah rushing attack. All right, final game here for the weekend before we get into everything else. Oklahoma and Tennessee. To me, this is a battle of who stays alive in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They both have two losses.
You think Tennessee still has a chance?
I mean, if they win out at 10-2, I think they're in. Yeah, I think any SEC team, because of the belief about the SEC, a 10-2 SEC team is going to find their way in.
You're right. And I will say the thing about Tennessee and the thing about Oklahoma, you have strength on strength. You have a top 5 offense versus a top 5 defense. And you have a terrible defense versus a terrible offense now that John Mateer is playing with one hand. Turns out your quarterback playing with a hurt throwing hand is not the best thing for your offense.
No.
It
is not.
But when you look at the offense for Tennessee and the defense for Oklahoma, this is going to be one of the most fun matchups to watch. Brent Venables and Josh Heupel play chess together, and it is going to be phenomenal. Another thing, if you're a Tennessee faithful or you're looking at this game and trying to decide how you're going to maybe sprinkle some money onto it, Tennessee lost their third string potential first round, whatever NFL draft pick hopeful Colton Hood last week against Kentucky. So that will be their top 3 defensive backs out against an Oklahoma team. So if you want to complete passes with a guy with one hand, it might be against this Tennessee defense that cannot stop a nosebleed in the passing game, and it's about to get worse if Colton Hood can't play.
I'm just wondering, can John Mateer throw the ball? And can he throw it effectively? Because this is the get-right game for Oklahoma because of Tennessee's lack of the ability to slow down the passing game. I mean, everybody is throwing on Tennessee right now. Everybody is able to throw on Tennessee. Kentucky threw for over 300 yards last week. Now, I know it was a blowout, but Kentucky should not be able to throw for 300 yards on you, no matter what that score is. You should be able to shut them down, especially a terrible Kentucky team. So, to me, this game comes down to John Mateer's hand. If John Mateer can't throw the football, I don't see how Oklahoma is going to be able to get into a shootout with them, because I think Tennessee's going to find ways to score. I think Tennessee's going to find ways to score on Oklahoma.
Yeah, you saw Ole Miss was able to do it. I mean, Ole Miss was able to move the ball against Oklahoma. And if Tennessee's given the ball over and over again because Oklahoma's offense can't move, they're going to score, and they're going to score a lot. So,
because we've seen Oklahoma's rushing attack has been struggling at times this year.
Yeah, they remind me of Alabama in the sense that they have all the other pieces. They're just missing one little spot. But actually, I take that back because they're missing 2 little spots. The quarterback having one hand and then the running game. So, and little I use very lightly. But I want to see Joey Aguilar in this game. I want to see him win in a hostile environment. I want to see him go to Tennessee. Oh, no, it's going to be in Tennessee. Never mind. But I want to see how he plays in a big-time SEC game at home against a top 10 defense, top 5 defense. If Joey Aguilar can play in this game and throw 300 plus and lead his Volunteers to victory despite the terrible defense, Tennessee has a really good chance to make it to the playoffs. I mean, if you can score on Oklahoma at will, you can probably score on anybody.
Trinidad Chambliss had over 300 yards. Now, granted, he was only 50% throwing the ball. I think Joey Aguilar is going to also push that 300 yard this weekend, because I think Ole Miss has a pretty good receiving core. I think Tennessee, I think Chris Brazell, I think is better than anybody on Ole Miss's receiving core this year.
I agree.
And I think
really good.
He's very, very good. I think Aguilar is going to have one or two mistakes. I don't know if there'll be necessarily I don't see he'll have one or two major mistakes. I don't necessarily know if there'll be turnovers, but I think they're going to be costly in some sort of fashion, that he takes a costly sack when he shouldn't, when he should get rid of the ball, fumbles, something like that. I think he's going to be one or two costly mistakes, but I think Oklahoma is going to struggle to move the ball enough, even with the depleted Tennessee defense, where they will be able to take care of business. All right, time for our Gridiron Spiciest take of the weekend. It is time, just like all of our boldest college football hot takes, Gridiron Spice brings flavor to every meal, from the signature varsity blend to the fiery hot route and Cajun-inspired Go Long. New Go, Geaux. I mean, maybe the new coach is a big fan of Go Long at LSU. These seasonings are built for game day. Head over to gridironspiceco.com. Use code WALKON for 10% off your order. Gridiron Spice, where football meets flavor. Last week's our spicy takes, I say Cincinnati would be a top 15 team entering this week's rankings. It's close. They're 17. That's close. You said Kansas would get the Wildcat monkey off their back and Jalen Daniels would have 5 touchdowns. They did not. Jalen Daniels had 1, and that game looked like Kansas was going to be in it. And then after Kansas's first drive, Kansas State took over and took them to the woodshed. This weekend, spicy takes. I had Jeremiah Smith scoring 3 touchdowns against Penn State this weekend. I think Ryan Day has a Jim Knowles problem that he wants to get rid of. That there's a little bit of animosity there. Ryan Day was asked about it this week already, and he basically said that, yeah, things didn't end great, wishing the best of luck. But he kind of alluded to that, yeah, they don't talk anymore. There's no friendship there. And I think he's going to want to embarrass Jim Knowles a little bit.
I like that. Now, remember, Jim Knowles has only given up less than 70 yards in they lost both those games. Sorry. Yeah.
Ohio State throws for 80 yards and 3 touchdowns to Jeremiah Smith.
That's all you need. That's the victory. I got Miami beating SMU by 21. I talked about it earlier. I think the recipe's there. I think Carson Beck gets back on track. Just throw it to Malachi Toney. It's that simple. CJ Danielson and Malachi Toney should get 1,000 receptions in this game. So give me Miami by 21. Now, the one thing that scares me is SMU can almost score on anybody. So that offense shows up and Kevin Jennings is healthy. That could be a fun game over there. I doubt it.
You never know. All right, let's get into our walk-on weekly 10% by battle bets. College football Saturday just got a whole lot better. Forget Vegas, forget risking real money. This season, we are on battle bets. Here's how it works. You join a league, you use fake money, you make the biggest bets every weekend, and you track all of your action live. Best part, it's not just bragging rights. Leagues have real prizes and are up for grabs. Stack points of the season, prove you're the sharpest bettor, and take home the crown. It's free, it's fun, it's built for college football fans like us. So hop in, battle bets now, and see if you got what it takes. All right, last week I had a nice week. I went 5-5. You had a very rough week, going 2-8.
Yeah, that wasn't good for the psyche. That wasn't good for the record. Wasn't good for a lot of things.
No. So we've got our picks for this upcoming weekend here.
Don't call it a comeback. It's happening this week.
Don't call it a comeback. First game here, Navy plays at North Texas this week, and North Texas is a 6.5-point favorite. This game has college football playoff implications. as these two teams are both sitting towards the top of the American. Navy is undefeated. Navy, if they win, I mean, you're talking about a team that ranked, 20, 21.
21. I think Navy's about to come in here and just blast North Texas. I think they're going to be able to run the football really well. I tweeted about this a couple of days ago. North Texas has like the 118th or the 106th ranked rush defense. Navy's number 1. But Navy also gives up a lot of pass yards. They rank. I'm going to get the exact rankings right here before I start screwing stuff up. Let's see here, Jake. Hold on. Here we go. This shouldn't take so long. Why is this taking me so long? This is great podcasting. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna take North Texas.
You're taking North Texas?
I'm taking North Texas to cover the spread.
That's a good thing you picked before I started to say this, because Navy's first in rushing offense and 115th in passing yards allowed. North Texas is 6th in passing offense and 118th in rush defense. So I'm feeling pretty good about my pick.
Well, North Texas doesn't need the ball long. North Texas doesn't need the ball long if their Navy's going to give up that many passing yards.
Yeah, that's true. This is going to be a lot of offense.
A lot of offense. Take the over here.
Do we see over 100 points scored in this game?
Oh no, I don't think Navy can move the ball that fast.
We'll find out.
Number 9 Vanderbilt plays at number 20 Texas, and somehow Texas is a 1.5 point favorite here.
Yeah, this is easy. Give me Vanderbilt.
Yeah, give me Vanderbilt. I don't know why the books keep putting Texas as a favorite. Texas is terrible against the spread this year. I forget their exact stats, but I think they've covered once, maybe twice this year. It feels like free money going to Vanderbilt here. Feels like free money. Texas Tech is a 7.5 point favorite at Kansas State this weekend. Who you like?
This one was a tough one. This one was a really tough one, but I'm going to have to go with Texas Tech. They're a wagon.
Texas Tech, with Baron Morton being back, I like them a lot. If Baron Morton was not playing, I would be 100% in on Kansas State. David Bailey is a beast. I think he is going to give Avery Johnson a tough day. And I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover that 7.5. Georgia is a 7.5 point favorite on the – well, this is not on the road. This is in Jacksonville at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah.
They're both on the road. Georgia or Florida?
Give me the Dogs.
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia. Is this the first game for Florida post Billy Napier?
This is.
I couldn't remember if they played last week or not. So that could be a little bit of an intrigue there, but I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take the Dogs. Miami is a 12.5 point favorite on the road to SMU. You already said where your pick is lying. You're taking Miami by 21. Any other additional thoughts?
Nope.
I'm going to take SMU here. I think this is going to be a weird, wonky game. I'm going to take them to cover. I think Carson Beck still has the demons in his head. I'm going to take SMU to cover, but I don't think they win this game. USC and Nebraska. USC is a 6.5 point favorite. We did have this on our picks. I was wrong. USC is a 6.5 point favorite this weekend on the road at Nebraska.
Give me USC. For some reason, I'm buying into Lincoln Riley this year.
That's a bad thing to do.
Yep, it's a terrible thing to do, but I could take that, or I could take Matt Rule in a one-score game. So I'd rather go with USC.
Yeah, pick your poison here. You want Nebraska in a one-score game, or you want USC on the road going into the Big Ten country?
You know what Lincoln Riley doesn't have? They don't have Alex Grinch, so I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
I don't know. I'm not. Jaden Maeva is like so hit and miss. I'm not super sold on USC right now. I'm going to take Nebraska to cover the spread. I don't know if they're going to win. Dylan Raiola, I was looking at this today, has kind of been a little bit of a disappointment this year. He's a good quarterback, but he's not the number 1 overall 5-star quarterback coming out of high school level that you would expect out of him by now.
Yeah.
You can call it a sophomore, but the kid's got 18 games starting experience by now. I would expect a little more. I would expect a little more consistency out of him by now, and it just doesn't feel like it's quite there.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Tennessee. Tennessee is a 3.5 point favorite this weekend.
Give me Tennessee. I'm going to hold my nose. Give me Tennessee.
I don't love it, but I'm taking Tennessee as well. I'm just not confident in John Mateer right now. If you had if this was John Mateer of early September, I'd be taking Oklahoma all day. But right now, I know Tennessee can score. I'm concerned about Oklahoma's ability to move the ball, even on a bad Tennessee passing defense.
Yeah.
Oh, let's jump down to this one. You put this one in here. ECU at Temple. Are you sure this game's at Temple? I thought this game was ECU.
I'll put that one in there.
Oh, no, it is at Temple. It is at Temple. I was wrong. ECU is a 4.5-point favorite on the road at Temple this weekend.
Give me the Pirates. Put
Yeah,
that one in
that's
there
a
for you. I'm
terrible
gonna rip your heart out. Give me the Pirates.
That's a terrible pick. Temple wins this game. Temple is great against the spread. Give me Temple plus 4.5. Give me Temple money line. Temple gets to a bowl game. Temple is sitting there right in the mix for the American Conference Championship. Give me the Owls. Arizona State at Iowa State this weekend. Iowa State is a 7.5-point favorite.
This is the most like, what do you do game. Like, I don't know who either of these teams are. I hope Jordan Tyson's healthy. If Jordan Tyson is healthy, I feel very confident in this. I'm going Arizona State, and it's the ability to throw the football. I mean, if BYU can throw for 300 against Iowa State, I think Arizona State can do the same thing.
Can I lock you in on that pick? Like, you can't change this as soon as I say what I'm about to say.
Sam Levitt's hurting, is he?
Sam Levitt's not playing. Jeff Sims is quarterback. I'm taking Iowa State all day because of that. Jeff Sims playing quarterback. Oh my goodness. I don't know if Arizona State's going to score.
You know, this is the kind of behavior and the kind of stuff that's gotten me to be 2-8 last week, and why I'm struggling this week in the pick'ems. I'm missing my edge, Jake. I'm missing my edge. But you know what? I'm not worried about that. I got this game. That game, Arizona State's going to win it. Kenny Dillingham's going to win it.
Jeff Sims on the road at Iowa State? No. All
Matt Campbell's too busy being dropped into different coaching carousels. I'm good.
Final game here: Cincinnati on the road at Utah. Utah's an 8.5-point favorite this weekend.
Give me Cincinnati. I think even if Utah wins, it'll be close. It'll be less than 8.5. But I like Cincinnati to win this one.
I'm right there with you. I don't know if Cincinnati will win this game, but I think this is going to be a 3 to 6 point game. I like Cincinnati to cover this. We talk about their defense. I think Brendan Swarsby is a underrated quarterback, and I think he's going to have a pretty solid day against Utah. So give me Cincinnati to cover this. It looks like we've got 3 or 4 different games. 4 different games.
So I can be down 1.
Yeah, I was like, you still can't make the full comeback, but you can get down 1.
Yeah, this happened this week.
Well, that does it for our episode this week. If you're not doing this already, make sure to go follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple, subscribe wherever you are. Give us a rating. If you are just discovering this because you found us in Lawrence, Kansas this weekend, appreciate you listening here. Appreciate you listening to this. Go check out the walkonredshirts.com. Go find us on social media at Walk On Redshirts on any social media platform you use, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever the new ones are. There's probably a Walk On Redshirts account, and we probably post content there at some point. Make sure to go follow Will at Walk On Moose on Twitter. And with that being said, we will see everybody again next week.